What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, how you doing?
Going fantastic. World Baseball Classics going on. Team USA, like this is fantastic.
You in a better mood today? I
They're
know our
playing.
I know our I know our YouTube viewers had some issues with what you had to say. I don't know
It's
what
fun.
you had.
Win a game. Play an important game. That's all I ask.
All
Like
right, easy, easy. Hey.
I haven't seen an important game in 7 years, but hey, I get to see Team USA play an important game, so we're good.
Let it go.
No,
Just let it go. Let the fans have some fun and let it go. Speaking of the World Baseball Classic, a lot of fun, man. The World Baseball Classic, so much fun. It really,
yes, it
I
is.
I can't imagine why anybody like is not either A, interested, or B, just doesn't like it. I've seen some comments where people just don't like it, but literally, like I wake up, like I'll go to sleep, I'll sleep to watching baseball, and then I'll wake up and baseball's still on. Like
Yep.
it's crazy. Fell asleep watching, forgot what game last night.
Italy, I think you said.
And I woke up to the
Yeah,
watch
you
to
woke up
finish
to
the
Italy.
Italy game, Italy Netherlands game, and that was a fun game. Then throughout the day, I think right now we have Venezuela against Puerto Rico on, U.S. taking on Mexico as this
Interesting. Oh,
podcast will be coming out. Yep, we do not know who's going to be winning that. That's going to be a fun game as well. USA
yes.
good. I know our podcast isn't about World Baseball Classic, but we do enjoy baseball, so
Yep.
I just wanted to throw that out there. With that being said, I'd like to know, your thoughts on it, as well as our listeners, our watchers, I guess, here at YouTube. If you guys are watching, leave a comment down below. Did you read the full Artie Moreno interview? Now, I don't want to beat around the bush. I know we've talked about this a lot.
I
I know
I
this
saw it.
this
Yes.
brings up a lot of things that we've already talked about and everything like that. So I don't want to beat around the bush. I do have something else I'd like to talk about too. But if you have any initial, crazy thoughts, I didn't think Artie was horrible in the interview. He went out and did what an owner does. Like some interesting things came out. Like one interesting thing was
Yep.
the Trey
Well,
Turner thing, saying that
I,
he wanted
I
to.
honestly don't think that's interesting. I think that's typical Artie. Like if you look at what he likes to do, he likes to go get the big name guy that he thinks is the missing piece to the team. And the Angels, like when they went to go get Albert Pujols, they thought they were missing a middle of the bat guy who's gonna put up 300 average and hit 35 plus homers and drive in over 100 guys like that. That's what he thought that team was missing. Same thing with Josh Hamilton. Like he thought we were missing that one more key bat, the left-handed bat, and they swung and missed. Like I don't think it was out of character at all for what Artie does. I think that was very very typical, and he wanted to go get the big name guy that he thought was the one key piece for the Angels winning. And I mean, as weird as it sound, like I would have been fine with him going out and get Trey Turner and like filling in the team with other guys and maybe trades and things like that. But like, no, I don't think it was out of character for him at all. I think it was actually the most in character thing we would have ever seen from him.
Yeah, no, and yeah, no, I agree. I thought the interview was super interesting. If you haven't read it, Sports Illustrated, I think Tom Verducci came out with it. Came out what, Friday, Saturday, I believe, of this last week.
Thursday,
Thursday, was it Thursday? Dang, dude, it's been a hot second.
Thursday,
But
Friday.
I'm at, for me, and you brought it up, like, and we've been preaching this for a while. You know, we're kind of that, we're on the same page as already here. Um, I'm a little split because I've been saying for a while they don't always need to go get the best player, that dude, that $300 million dude. Go distribute the money a little bit. And that's what Perry was able to talk Artie into, which was huge. I think. I think
Yep.
that, distributing the money, getting the right players is a big thing. However, I do want that big name shortstop too. I think that I don't know. I'm mixed. I know that you didn't like the offseason. I like the offseason just because this is what I wanted the Angels to do for a while is go and distribute the money elsewhere. Don't go spend it all in one place. Like, I didn't think Scherzer was the guy, they needed to go get. I didn't think Garrett Cole was the guy they needed to go. I didn't think those were the missing pieces. I did think that a shortstop put them in a better position. But did it put him in a better position than, going and spending 78, what was it, $80 million on the offseason that they had here? Granted, they made a couple trades, they made a couple decently big splashes. I mean, Tyler Anderson was a big splash. Carlos Estevez was a big sign. Matt Moore, another big sign. I think they combined. That's pretty close to what all those shortstops were getting right there, maybe a little bit under that. So I don't know. I'm kind of that's about right, right? Those three guys right there. What they spent
It's
in
about
pitching.
29 and a half, maybe 30 between the two, and that's like right around what the shortstops were getting. So,
Yeah.
um, the
I don't know.
only
I'm
reason.
I'm I'm kind of, you know, a little bit fooled because I've wanted that shortstop. I have for a while, but I do like the offseason.
So the only reason why I think it's different, like everyone's like, oh, we've seen this happen before. We've spent money on one position player and it hasn't worked out. I already mentioned Pujols and Hamilton, and some people point to
Mm.
Rendon.
And up the
Um,
and up the middle guy.
yes, that's the biggest thing is he's young and he's up the middle. He would have been the youngest guy that we would have ever given that long of a contract to. You look at Rendon was 30. You look at Pujols was 31 and Hamilton was 30, 31, 32. I think he was 32.
Oh, in
Um,
30s, yeah.
so that was one thing for me is the age thing, and he plays up the middle. Like he's athletic, he's going to age well. That's the biggest thing that you look at when you're looking at giving long-term deals. You're looking at guys who are going to be athletic for most of those deals, or most of the time of the deal, and you're looking for someone who is going to like be able to move around. Like the best part about Trey Turner is like he could play shortstop for he could play shortstop for 10 years. It's possible.
Premium
It's
position.
also it's also possible that he plays a premier shortstop for 6, 7 years, and then you slide him over to second. And he plays a premier second base for 3 years. Like those are the things that you look at where like you look at a Josh Hamilton, you look at an Albert Pujols, you look at an Anthony Rendon. They signed their 10 year contracts, and where does Pujols go? Age 7 through 10, right? He's a DH only. That's the easiest spot in baseball to get, right? You look at Josh Hamilton. Is he going to be able to play outfield for all 5 years? Like the case was no, he wasn't. And then now you look at the Anthony Rendon thing, and it's like, is he able to play third base for all 7 years of that contract? You might be able to slide him over to first, which is fine. But like those are the things you look at when looking at long-term contracts, for me at least. And so that's why I would have been okay going long term. And I think that would have been the first long term deal that you would have been able to really back Artie and be like, hey, he gave it to a young guy. He gave it to a 29-year-old. You gave it to a young guy. You gave it to a guy who plays up the middle. He's athletic and he's going to be able to play multiple positions long term. So I think that would have been fine. But what the Angels did was fine this year. I just think that the most important position you need on the diamond is up the middle. You need pitching, you need a catcher, you need a shortstop, you need a center fielder, and I think the Angels have, you could argue three, you could argue two of those four key positions. It depends on if you think Logan O'Hoppe can play their 145 plus games, 140 plus games, should I say? Because we really don't know what Sassy's going to be and things like that. But nevertheless, like shortstop needs to be a guy that you can just pencil in the lineup. He's going to play. He's going to stay healthy, and he's going to do his thing. That's what I need at shortstop. It's just so miserable saying like, oh, we're going to platoon at shortstop. And so the good teams don't do that. So that's the only thing. So I would have actually given Artie props for that, but. As we see, it's Perry's team, and that's what I've been preaching the last year and a half, that this is Perry's team. And if the Angels are going to be good, Perry's moves are going to have to work out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like what Perry's done. Rebuttal, Josh Hamilton was a stupid good athlete, center fielder type guy. Just a
So
rebuttal.
I would agree with you.
Corner outfielder though, with Mike Trout, Peter Borges, those type of guys.
The only difference between Josh Hamilton and Trey Turner, and I know you like we don't want to have to go this way, but Josh Hamilton had destroyed his body with the alcohol and the drugs and things like that, and that's why he moved to a corner. Like he wasn't playing center in Texas when the Angels signed him; he was playing left. So little bit
Yeah,
different.
beautiful.
Like I know he was a center fielder coming up and things like that, but he'd been out of baseball. He had, had some issues with the drugs and alcohol and things like that. And that really took a toll on his body. And you saw it. He became very injury prone as his, career went on. But very, very good player. Loved the signing, but it just didn't work out because, who wouldn't have liked the guy who's been absolutely murdering you? Like he's been hitting 40 tanks against you. He's the reason the Rangers were getting first place. He's been hitting 30 plus homers every year. He's hitting 290. He's winning MVPs. And it's like, man, we could steal the guy from the first place team and get and add him to our lineup. And it just didn't work out. So
I'm gonna throw this out. I'm gonna throw this one too, and kind of disagree with you. It wasn't a good signing because that was the Torrey Hunter signing.
yes, yes, of course.
So I mean, yes, okay.
No,
Josh Hamilton is a player. The
but
premise
you know what
behind
I'm
Josh
saying.
Hamilton,
Like,
yes,
yes,
the premise behind
obviously
Josh
Torrey Hunter
Hamilton
would have been
being,
the better guy to
yeah,
get. But
yes,
just saying, like, that's the mindset you're thinking when
yeah,
you're Artie Moreno in that standpoint. You're like,
yeah,
okay, how is this team winning? This is their key player. Now we put him on our team. Now it puts us ahead of them. It's like, obviously we would have rather had Torrey Hunter, things like that. But
yes.
swing and miss.
Not even in hindsight, like at the time too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Not bringing
like,
Torrey Hunter back was rough, and I know we'd get
yes,
chewed up if we didn't mention that. But yes, the
we
premise
love
behind
Torrey
getting
Hunter.
Josh Hamilton was a lot better than the thought behind getting Albert Pujols, which was very much so like TV contract related.
Yeah, business related, not
More
on the field.
better. I mean, I love Anthony Rendon, but like I think that was just because you had to go out and spend money.
Well, I think you missed on Garrett Cole, so in
Yeah.
order to like keep everyone happy,
You
you
had to
had
go
to make a
spend money.
big splash.
Mhm.
And I think it was like, okay, this is the next best option. Like they had on their free agent board Garrett Cole one, 1A, 1B, 2, 3, 4, and it was like, okay, we missed on Garrett Cole. Now who's next? And it's like, all right, we're gonna go all in on Anthony Rendon.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him just because we have to. We told everyone we were gonna make a splash. We're gonna make a splash, and it was like one of those 4 splashes. Don't get me wrong, absolutely love Anthony Rendon. I think he could have a big bounce back year. You're seeing, I don't care about spring training, but you're seeing him put together some good quality ABs. I don't care about the numbers. I care about
looks good. He looks healthy.
what he
looks
looks
like he's moving.
Yeah, he looks healthy.
Yeah, he looks healthy, which is
So
good.
which is good.
And also like, not to continue to harp on this like Josh Hamilton thing, but it just continues to bring up more stuff. The Angels were in a winning situation at that time too. Like we've been talking, we've mentioned this 1,000 times. Like if the Angels were close to a 90 win team, sure, go out and spend money. Like that's where they're at, and that's where they were for the Josh Hamilton thing. Granted, it didn't work out, but they were in a better spot than they are now. So yes, I get it. I like full circle. Yes, I totally understand. So with outfielders being said, before we let everybody go, there's an interesting race. I don't think it's a race. People are making it into a race because I think that
It should be.
I don't think it needs to be a race.
It should be.
You talk to me after a month, and it could be something, because we've talked about this before. Like Brett,
A month could be the reason that you're in 4th place instead of 2nd place.
If Brett Phillips is the issue that the Angels are in 4th place, that's not the issue, right?
It could be.
No. There's no.
Could be.
If the Angels are in 4th place, it's not because of Brett Phillips.
We got to win the platoons, Jared. We've got to win the platoons.
No.
Best way to win the platoons, you put a lefty in to hit for a righty against a righty.
Can I just?
On the mound.
Am I allowed to just like cut this right here? Like Andrew Velasquez is not an outfield. I mean, he can probably.
I'm not putting Andrew Velasquez on the roster.
I'm throwing it out there for fans. All right, I'm throwing it out there for fans because there has been some talk now of Andrew Velasquez possibly winning a job out of spring training. Andrew Velasquez is not an outfielder. Andrew Velasquez is not an everyday infielder. He's not a 5th infielder. He is somebody that you bring up. He has depth, and he's good depth. I'm gonna be honest there with you. Like, I think he's good depth to have. I know that you don't like it, but like, if you were able to bring up Andrew Velasquez in a bench role for like 15,
days.
20 games when somebody gets hurt, that's what you want out of Andrew Velasquez. Is that fair to say, right?
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Livan Soto than Andrew Velasquez for those 10, 15 days. So, like, in my opinion, like, you already have Andrew Velasquez. Like, you cut Andrew Velasquez.
Yes.
Like, I think you just let him go. You say somebody else can have him. We'll pick up somebody else to play in the minor leagues and go from there. Because, like, you already have that guy, right? Yeah. You have Livan Soto, who can be that guy who comes up for 10, 15 games, plays a shortstop. maybe 5 of those 10, 15 games. So, or even 20 games, like even if he plays 5 of those 20 games. So I don't see the need for Andrew Velasquez. I think, maybe people around the org like him. I think Phil Nevin likes
Premier
him because
glove,
he's,
and Phil Nevin likes him. Yes.
yeah, I think Phil Nevin likes him because of his time in New York, and you can see some of the crossover from some of those New York guys. But
Yeah.
what? Don't give me that look.
No. I was thinking. I didn't mean to say premium glove. At premium glove up the middle, which is what I mean. We've always liked that. Is that guy who's a
You
premium
got to
glove?
be able to hit over the Mendoza
Yes.
line, though.
Yes. No. And Levon Soto is a better sixth infield option if they need to go that way, anyways.
Yep.
So I do agree with you. I mean, but onto the Brett Phillips thing, I don't agree with you. I think he wins. Doesn't have to, but I think he does win the job because you can't. Joe Adell and Mickey Moniak, as good as Mickey Moniak has been, it's a waste to bring him up in that fourth outfield role. Just give him everyday at bats down in Salt Lake. Let him and Joe Adell hit out of their mind. And number one, you could possibly have trade bait when it comes to July. Hypothetically, it could happen if you were in that situation. Or B, you need an outfielder next year, and if Joe Adell or Mickey Moniak, possibly could win that job in right field, unless the Angels keep Hunter Renfroe or go sign somebody else. So that's where I'm at with it. And also, Joe Adell, Mickey Moniak are not fourth outfielders. Those guys need everyday at bats. I cannot preach that enough.
So that was one of my questions that I was going to say. Is like, if you think that Moniak is not an everyday guy, which is possible, it is possible that you have seen him in Philadelphia, if you've seen him in Anaheim, and you're like, you know what, we don't think he's an everyday guy. He is a fourth outfielder. We like that he can play good defense. We like that he can play all 3 spots. He's never going to hit at a 100 WRC plus clip. So why don't we just start him as a fourth outfielder? Because he's better than Brett Phillips. Like, I could see that being the argument. But if you're trying to tell me, and again, these are conversations you would have to have as a front office and things that they would have to 100% agree on.
You're gonna ask
Because
me if they are trying to win. Why is Brett
no,
Phillips out there? Okay, good.
no. Because I think the biggest question that you need answered is Mickey Moniak an everyday guy, or is he a platoon fourth outfielder guy? If he's an everyday guy, you leave him in AAA, you let him break, and then if somebody gets hurt, you bring him up and let him play.
Yep.
Or whoever's playing better, him or Joe Adell, you bring him up and you let him play, and you continue Brett Phillips to not play.
Yep.
But if you're telling me that Mickey Moniak, probably not an everyday guy, like let's say Renfroe walks, and next year it's like, oh, is Moniak really going to push Joe Adell for that role? Or is Moniak really a guy that just kind of floats in the outfield and plays, twice a week, and Joe Adell plays the other 5 days a week or whatever? If that's the case, then Mickey Moniak is the better option.
Depends on
I don't know how.
It depends on how you view him and how do you view him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how the
him?
organization views him. I personally don't know how I view him. Like,
exactly.
Because
So you have to start him in AAA. He's not a fourth outfielder right now. He's not that guy. Like you have to figure out what he is.
You could argue in a meeting with me that he is a fourth outfielder.
Yeah.
Like
you can argue he's a starter too, right?
You could. Like,
yeah.
that's the problem. So
Same thing with Joe Adell.
it would just really depend on what the entire org is feeling. And because when you sit in those meetings and you go, hey, Moniak's a fourth outfielder. We've seen him, he had an 80 WRC plus as an Angel last year before he got hurt. Like, yeah, he was doing some things. He hit some home runs. People were excited because
hit the ball hard for the first time in his career.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, like, yeah, I could agree that he's a fourth outfielder. But then, someone could be like, well, he did show signs of life. That was the best offense he's ever had in his career. Maybe he just needed a change of scenery, and he's an actual starting outfielder. It's like, okay, like, I could see that side too. So I just think that the org would really have to be on the same page with that. His WRC plus was
like 50, 40, 60, 70. I just gave you like 8 different numbers there. Between 40 and 80. I think it was below 80.
Total last year was 39. I would have to double check what it is as an Angel, but Um, nevertheless, it
Well,
didn't show.
as a 39 WRSC plus guy, that's not a fourth outfielder either. You know, that's not somebody who you want playing in the outfield. Like, yes, Brett Phillips is gonna probably be at 40 WRC plus. I think he probably hits a little bit better than that. He's probably like a 70 or 80 WRC, 60 or 70 would be my guess. 60 between 60 and 80 WRC plus, which is below average. But for a fourth outfielder who's getting a start a week, coming in the seventh inning, pinch running for somebody, playing some defensive outs for the Angels have a good defense in the outfield there. But if somebody Trout needs the seventh, eighth, and ninth off because they're winning 9-0 against Seattle, he's a good guy to have. So
yeah, so that's really the biggest question you need answered is does he fit that fourth outfield role or does he fit that starter role? And I think honestly, when you made that trade, you probably didn't think he was a starting outfielder because you were giving up,
he was a project. He's a project.
yes.
He's a project, and you hope that a change of scenery changes that. So yeah, I agree with you. Nevertheless, Brett Phillips is going to be the fourth outfielder come opening day. You're welcome.
We'll see. I mean, I think there's a lot of different options out there. We saw Walsh. There is a lot of different options out there. We've seen Walsh.
They're not going to go with a straight 3-man outfield. The Angels had one outfielder for a while last year, didn't they? Wasn't it just Taylor Ward? No, it was
No, because they had two. I think they had two real outfielders. But what I was going to go into is like you have guys that can play the outfield. Like Walsh can play the outfield, right?
Fletcher can play the outfield.
Fletcher can play the outfield.
Renifo,
Rengifo could play.
Gio in a pinch could probably play the outfield.
So you have those three guys that could all play the outfield. If for some reason, because you're like, this is what we have for the first couple of weeks or whatever. Maybe we try and sneak Brett Phillips through waivers, whatever. You could go with the three in the outfield and then add an extra infielder like a Livan Soto, just in case. And this is why I say this, just in case your guy cannot play shortstop. Like if Rengifo does not succeed at shortstop, you need someone there. Like you said, 7, 8, 9. If Fletcher's not playing a good shortstop and you're in the seventh inning of a tight game, and Rengifo can't play shortstop, Gio Urshela is not a true shortstop. Brandon Drury's not a true shortstop. It's like,
what if Fletcher we just is that guy? Yeah.
Like Livan Soto could take that job. What if you go Jake Lamb? Jake Lamb has shown this spring that he's hitting the ball well. You've seen it in Seattle. He had good ABs. He's done some things in the last couple of years. What if he's the fourth outfielder? We haven't talked about that. He played left field last year. He could play a corner. He could play first. He could play third. He probably could play second in a pinch. Is he playing better than Brett Phillips? You could argue that. So I think there are other options than just Brett Phillips, Mickey Moniak, or Joe Adell. I don't think Andrew Velasquez is in that argument. But just if you were to sit here and tell me that Jake Lamb wins the job over Brett Phillips, I wouldn't be surprised. What we've seen out of him in spring, the fact that that he can handle all those different positions, the fact that you've seen him have quality ABs. Again, I don't care what the numbers are, right? I think if you actually look at the numbers, they're very good.
I'm going to look because I haven't seen him too much.
I don't care about the numbers. Like, that's not what I care about. I care, are you going to give me a quality AB if I give you ABs, right? Like, and I can't say that out of he's hitting 333 with 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 941 OPS. So again, don't care about that. But if I had a pinch hit opportunity and I'm putting Brett Phillips or Jake Lamb at the dish, who's going to give me a more quality AB?
Did they release him?
Oh.
He's not on the roster.
He's not on the 40.
No, I know. I wasn't looking at the 40. Sorry, super random. He's not on their invitees roster, so that's the reason why I asked that. Kind of interesting. Maybe. We'll have to figure that out for you there, Nate.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen him get designated or told he was cut yet.
Yeah. I don't see any transactions here. This is how we find stuff out here, guys.
That's an interesting thing. And he played today.
He was assigned to the Angels. Yeah.
He played today. So
Let's look at his roster here. Wow. As we're doing this here.
that's
No.
that's odd. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like if we're looking for quality ABs and I'm looking at Brett Phillips or Jake Lamb, like I probably am feeling more comfortable putting Jake Lamb at the dish. The role that Brett Phillips would play is defensive replacement. And honestly, like with what the Angels are going to run out there, they're going to have a really solid outfield defense, right? Like the only reason you would take Mike Trout out of a game is if the game's a laugher. But if the game's a laugher, it's okay to put Jake Lamb in the outfield, right? Like Taylor Ward could play center field, or Luis Rengifo could play center field for 2 or 3 innings if it's a 7, 8, 9, 10 run game, right?
Yeah, still trying to figure out this Jake Lamb thing. I feel like it's an Angels mistake. So
It's possible.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. Like he could easily be that fourth outfielder technically. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I don't think it's a Brett Phillips runaway. I think you're going to get some people on here that go, Brett Phillips has 2 or 3 hits on the spring. It's like, okay. Again, like I said, I don't care about the spring numbers. I do know the spring numbers. I've watched the spring games. I do know the spring numbers, but like I'm not going to solely base decisions on what numbers are. I'm going to base decisions on who's going to give me the most quality AB, who is ready to play at this level, like when you're looking at minor league and major league guys, and who is going to be able to fit a positional need type of thing. And I think Jake Lamb does give you that flexibility that you want, right? The depth where it's like, hey, he can play first, he can play second in a pinch, he can play third, he can play left, he can play right. So I don't know. I don't think I've talked you into Jake Lamb winning a spot, but
no, you have not. I'm still thinking Brett Phillips just because you don't win it, like with the way that outfield is. You don't expect the fourth outfielder to play very much. It's not like he's platooning. He's a guy who comes in and like the seventh inning. Like,
if you're not
he's not
expecting
even
him to play, then why even like waste a roster spot at that point? Like I would
mean,
rather use a roster spot on a guy like Jake Lamb.
Oh no, I wouldn't, not Jake Lamb. You know who it would be? Ben Joyce. That's who your roster spot is right there.
I don't think you
can.
I don't think you can go that way because there's a max number of pitchers you're allowed.
I don't know if the Angels are close to that either, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to DFA somebody, it's not going to be for Jake Lamb unless Lamb's saying like, oh, I'm not coming back. If I don't make the spot, make the team or something like that. I'm just that's my thought. I think if anything, it's going to be Ben Joyce. So before I let everybody go, you got any final thoughts? Go World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, Patrick Sandoval on the bump tonight. I know this is going to come out Sunday night. So Patty Sandoval against Team USA. Mike Trout, Patrick Sandoval. That's going to be an interesting, fun matchup.
Viva las USA.
USA wins. Yeah, USA wins. I think Trout gets Patty once, and I think Patty gets Trout once.
Trouty's due in the big spotlight, should I say. So guys, with all that being said, thank you so much for listening and watching. You can follow us on all our social medias. Go ahead and pound that subscribe button if you have not already. Follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.